Okay. Good morning, world. How are we today? Okay, this morning, Wednesday morning. What are we talking about? We are talking about something that has been a topic of conversation in our household for quite some time. And last night, my two oldest daughters were talking about how this conversation had come up on radio, like on the school bus. And I was like, oh, has it now? How interesting. Because, this is something I've been trying to explain to more specifically my older daughter for some time. Now, she is a big fan of Ariana Grande music. And, I don't know if I've actually talked about this before. I can't remember. I feel like I might have touched on it a little bit. But anyway, when it's like your teenager likes the music of an artist so much that they almost sort of obsess about the artist themselves. They want to emulate them, don't they? They want to be just like them. It's like they're an idol, And while that can be great and inspirational for some, I would say that Ariana Grande is the absolute worst artist that my teenager could idolize. I am of the opinion that she has had body dysmorphia, extremely low confidence, self-esteem issues, probably mental health issues, probably eating disorders, in my opinion, for most of her life since her days, working with Disney, when she was a bit of a more normal-sized young girl with the red hair. And, over the years, I have seen how she sort of chameleons herself depending on who she's dating, and perhaps just trying to be a trendsetter, right? And along with the physical or fashion changes that she makes and hairstyles, also comes different personalities, different voices that she talks in, different personas that she puts on. I've seen it. You compare interviews of her talking when she was with I forget his name now, the guy that she was dating. But when she used to have brown hair slicked back in a ponytail, and she would just wear long boots with a oversized jumper or something, and she had the whole baby girl look going on, sucking on a lollipop. She used to talk kind of what's the word? She's she was part of the African American culture, not hip hop, but you know what I mean. She had a persona to fit what she was doing there with her extremely tan skin and baby doll outfits and whatnot. And then fast forward to when she dyed her hair almost like a light orange, and started doing her makeup as if she was Asian, and it was almost like she was trying to be the queen of K-pop, because K-pop was trending hard, and then she that's when she really dropped a lot of weight, And now it's like, you know, she's like with the Wicked and all that, everybody, you know, has been talking about how they all lost so much weight and what's going on, and you know, they weren't even like bigger before or needing any diets or extreme exercise routines or anything like that, but then like the cast just started dropping weight so much they're walking around like skeletons. And you know, when Ariana Grande has been on stage, like I've seen the footage, you know, of like all the bones in her body just like that shouldn't be visible to people, just like sticking out and everything. And it's like she doesn't even, it's all right, I'm gonna say this: anorexics, they like get off on shocking people with their bones. Okay, that's their winning prize badge. You know, if you start making negative comments about like, oh my god, you've lost so much weight, oh I can see your bones sticking out, you're making their day by doing that. Okay, it's part of the sickness. All right, you're patting them on the back when you talk about things like that. Okay, and that's why she's not like covering herself up. All right, she might say, oh, I wish people would just stop making comments about my body, my appearance, you know, it's a very personal thing and I take very good care of myself, blah blah blah. No, she is enjoying every second of people making comments about her, you know, withering, fading away skeletal body. You know, that's the pat on the back that she wants. Okay, and you know, it is just absolutely a disgusting example to be setting for young girls. And if she wants to make new albums, why doesn't she just skip the tour? Why doesn't she just put out the albums and make her money off of that, and not try to get people's money for attending her concerts as well? Because you should be aware of what a bad example you are for all the young girls that idolize you. I mean, everybody's been up in arms about your weight for like, what, a year or more now. So really, if you know that it's a problem, and it's a problem for young girls, it's a problem for young girls' parents, how about don't be selfish, don't be greedy for extra money for your concert tickets. How about just put out your album and be a good little girl and cover yourself up and stay at home, mate. Stay at home, okay, until you get better. All right, because otherwise it's just blatantly obvious that you are wanting to shock people with your physique, okay? It seems blatantly obvious that you don't care about the absolutely detrimental effect that you could be having on millions of young girls who idolize you. Okay, and yes, that is your responsibility. If you are a celebrity, you know, especially I would say a singer who young girls idolize, yes, it is absolutely your responsibility to be a good example to them. Okay, because you know that young girls idolize you and they're going to copy you and they're going to try to look like you, even makeup wise and stuff. Ever since Ariana Grande started doing the, you know, tiny little you know, with the highlighting and the contouring, doing like a tiny little pixie nose and stuff like that, I know my daughter copies that because she idolizes her so much. You know, like there's just, it's one thing after another, whether it's hairstyles, whether it's makeup styles, you know, fashion, you know, or eating disorders. Girls will copy what they see their idols doing. And I just feel like there should be some, like, more control over the situation. Because to me, it feels like we've got people who are greedy for money and, you know, stardom, like spotlight on them, just absolutely disregarding the well-being of millions and millions of children and teenage girls. for their own gain, And I mean, I don't even think that like celebrities deserve to be idolized and worshipped how they are. Sometimes I even think like the money that they're earning from concerts and stuff is just like ridiculous. I get that like a CD has to cost a certain amount of money, and you know, they put a lot of work into making that CD. Yeah, they deserve that. I think that ticket prices for concerts is ridiculous though. But yeah, like we don't need to have you know, singers and etc. being such a bad example to the youth. And that goes for like males as well. You know, you've got so many, let's just say like R&B, hip hop and rap singers, male singers, who are such a bad example to young boys and teen boys. And then you've got, you know, you wonder why crime goes up. You wonder why the number of gangs increases. You wonder why there's more young boys going to like children prison, you know, dropping out of school and ruining their life and getting into drugs and crime and all this sort of stuff. Well, it is fact that a lot of it comes from the influence of music. Okay, it's like a mantra. You know, when you want to improve your life, you know, they say, oh, say a mantra over and over to yourself every day, you know, positive mantra to bring things to your life. Well, music is like a mantra, okay? And it can, you know, energetically, I think it can sort of call upon to you, like, you know, attract to you what it is that you're singing about. You know, when Ariana first just released that album, I did ask my daughter, you know, what are her latest songs about? You know, and some of it's like quite a lot of attitude, and you know, some of it's sad, you know, and stuff like that. And I feel like it does have a bit of an effect on the overall emotional state of people. You know, it doesn't matter like whether it's Ariana Grande or if it's like rap or if it's a sad song or whatever. It really can impact your overall mental state or emotional state, can't it? Like, I feel like everybody has been there where you sing along to a song that comes on the radio and it makes you feel a certain way that you weren't feeling before. Okay, you weren't feeling that way before that song came on, but it like evokes memories and things like that, or you know, touches a touchy spot for you or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're, you know, angry or you're sad or you're depressed, or, you know, some songs very rarely make you happy, you know? And I just think that more people should be like talking about that. More people should be aware of that. More people should be trying to protect their, you know, young children and teenagers from this. Because it's almost like having like the devil just like whispering in your child's ear, you know, oh, you know, you might be as pretty as her if you know, excessively exercise and starve yourself like she does. Oh, you know, maybe you'd be even better looking if you style yourself and do your makeup like her. Oh, you might be as cool as this guy if you start dressing like this and having this kind of an attitude. Oh, you know, being smart and intelligent and funny and creative and going to school, and that's for losers. That's not cool. You know, like that's like what we're living with here. And as a parent, it is so hard to shield your child or your teen from all of this going on. It really is. And I'm not stupid. I know that like kids and teens, they have to learn you know, a lot of stuff for themselves, and they have to you know, figure themselves out, and they have to you know, come to discover their own identity and blah 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 blah. I get that, okay, but as a parent, it's also your responsibility to help protect your child's well-being, isn't it?
and their safety, just like with all that stuff recently with you know, that kids really under 16, I would say under 18 to be honest, under 16, you know, are not safe online because there's too much, you know, marketing of products to them that gets into their head, like makeup and whatever. I mean, now you've got, you know, 4-year-olds demanding to have makeup and shopping trips to Sephora and all this kind of crap. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, you know, you've got teen girls who, I mean, they've already been doing makeup on their face and all these harsh skincare routines and all this sort of stuff with adult products since, you know, since they were like 6 years old. You know, it's just ridiculous. And then it's like, oh, you're the loser of the group if you're not doing it because all the other girls are doing it. You know, oh, if you're not wearing, if you're not gluing false eyelashes on every day and contouring your nose and putting this on and this on and this on, oh, you're not one of the pretty girls, you know. No one's looking at you because you're not, you know, caked on makeup. It's just ridiculous, you know. And before you know it, all these girls are going to grow up and they're going to have damaged skin, probably scar tissue on their skin. They're going to have skin problems. They're going to age themselves dramatically. You know, by the time they're like in their 20s, they'll probably look like a 40-year-old. You know, I've seen even like 18, 19, 20-year-old girls that are going to go get fillers and all this kind of crap put in their face to try to stop ever getting wrinkles. But it's like, oh my god, like what is the world coming to? And one day you have to go get that crap taken out of your face, by the way, and then you're going to be left all saggy and funny looking, okay? It's just, you know, I know it's almost like I sound like I'm just like, you know, over the top about it or something. It's like you kind of do feel like you're over the top about it because, you know, it's like the whole world's gone crazy and you're like a sane person and you're like, no, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that. And also, why are we pandering to like, you know, men's sexual, you know, preferences of how a woman should look, even from the age of a young child? Because that's what's happening here. That's why makeup is such a big thing. It's to make women more sexually appealing to men, okay? And now we're just like, oh yeah, 4-year-old, let's go on a makeup trip because it sort of looks like, you know, you're the only one in your group now who's not wearing makeup. You're falling behind. Or, you know, or, you know, you need to have the false lashes. You need to be wearing these clothes. Even now, just recently, I've come to learn that the fashion trend has come back of baby girl dresses. And it's like, why on earth would a teenager or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or whatever be wearing a baby girl dress when we are fully aware that it's like it's playing with the idea that men like and are sexually attracted to little girls. Why on earth would we be pandering to that? Why isn't like all the baby girl dresses burnt? You know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, oh, pedophilia is bad, but at the same time you go dress yourself up as a 30-something-year-old woman to make yourself look like a little girl. You know, like there was a I forget her name now, but there was a girl on a doing a performance on stage, like singing. Maybe it was her concert, I can't remember, but anyway, she, like, you know, did get some backlash for it, but it's like then people have come out like to defend her and defend the baby girl dress, and it's like baby doll dress, whatever. And it's like, yeah, people are a little bit like messed up in the head, I think. It's like, you know, when like an abuse victim is confused about the truth of what happened or the timeline of things that happened because you know, part of the abuse is to like confabulate the victim's brain. It's like that is the truth, that's the reality for women. And so you can have, you know, 30-something-year-old women who are completely aware of pedophilia and all the ways that that has infiltrated society and fashion and everything. Even, you know, the what's that world famous fashion show that's just like all women dressed in lingerie with big butterfly wings walking around on stage. You know, I mean, even that, you know, making young girls have to compare themselves to these, you know, models that are unrealistic for most people to ever look like. You know, and it's just, yeah, young girls are being ruined by the world. You know, young girls, teen girls are being ruined by the world, whether it's fashion industry, whether it's makeup industry, whether it's the music industry. And I just feel like, you know, we've gone through such a process of like, oh, the Me Too movement and the body shaming, and you know, whether you know, it's body shaming whether you say they're too big or they're too skinny. Oh, it's not okay to you know, point your finger at what someone's wearing and say that's not okay, because it's up to her if she wears a completely see-through dress. It's up to her if she wears the baby girl, baby doll look. It's up to her if she takes her 4-year-old shopping for makeup at Sephora, you know, and putting it all over YouTube so all the other 4-year-old girls catch that video. You know, like, it's just, I mean, the world is retarded. And it's so stressful actually to be a parent of daughters, because it's like you have to try to protect your daughters from all this crap, and at the same time not seem like an overbearing or controlling parent, because you don't want to, you know, alienate yourself from your child, but you want to protect them. And so you've got to have like conversations about it. You know, like, I have conversations with my girls, and I still let them, you know, do makeup from time to time and things like that. You know, my oldest daughter is more so like, she won't go to school now without having makeup on, and that's, you know, a concern for me, because I just feel like, what world are we living in that girls don't feel comfortable with their own face? You know, she goes barefaced at home, but you know, because all the other girls are wearing the lashes and wearing the makeup at school, she feels like she looks, you know, not good enough if she rocks up to school with no makeup on and no lashes on and no, you know, fake nails glued on and all this. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anywho, yeah, just, I think that we should all be a little bit more focused on how the world is destroying young girls. And we've known this for a very long time. Okay, baby, speaking up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.